So I get asked by entrepreneurs and all my students about, have I ever screwed up as an entrepreneur? And absolutely I screwed up as an entrepreneur. My first business I had to shut down. It was a disaster. And what I learned from that was that I had really started the wrong business for what I cared about. I was fascinated at that time with new types of ceramic technologies, and I thought that they could make dinner plates that were really novel and exciting to people. And because nobody was really interested in making these dinner plates, I said, well, how about if I open a store to sell dinner plates? It's called Tabletop Store, and the store was called Table of Contents. What about if I start a store and I'll learn how to sell plates, and then I'll have a place to sell my new technology? Well, boy, oh boy, I know now that that was really false logic and is not what you would do to create a successful business. Nowadays, I understand that all businesses, you want to test out. You know, I had a hypothesis that people wanted to buy those newfangled high technology plates, right? But I couldn't get anybody interested in it. And so I didn't believe what I was hearing. So I upped it and invested all this money to start a store to try and prove that I could sell plates. And I didn't know anything about selling plates. And I really didn't care about selling plates. I cared about the technology. When I later on, 10 years later, had studied a lot about startups and figured out a lot about why I failed, I started a business that I knew exactly the product that was going to excite a customer base and make a successful business. So my second business, called iSupply, went and captured information that I had wanted personally as a CEO of a large semiconductor company, and nobody could give it to me. And I called up my fellow CEOs and said, hey, do you know where to get this information? And they said, no, but boy, oh boy, would that be valuable, okay? So ultimately, that second business, I put my money where my mouth was, but I did something that I knew exactly who was going to buy it, how valuable it was, and it was a matter then of executing it, getting my hands on that information, which I knew I could do, and that business became very successful and ultimately grew into a large information business that was the largest in its field around the world, and sold for $100 million. So my first failure, fortunately, taught me a lot and led to me wanting to explore entrepreneurship and understand it a lot better before I tried it again 10 years after.